Hey everybody, Glenn here.
Hey yo.
And to support our show, we'll need some help from some great advertisers. And in order to find some great advertisers, we'll need to learn a little bit more about you. So please go to podsurvey.com/king. That's podsurvey.com/king, and take a quick anonymous survey that will help us get to know you a little better.
We got a little survey going on.
That way we can show advertisers just how great our listeners are. Plus, once you complete the survey, you can choose to enter for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Terms and conditions apply. So again, that's podsurvey.com/king, podsurvey.com/king, to fill out the anonymous survey and a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card.
One more for the good guys.
The following show is a Pod Avenue production. You are cordially invited to have dinner with the King. Pull up a chair and join WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler and Glenn Moore. Enjoy.
Dinner with the King is back. Episode number 85 of the highly acclaimed wrestling podcast with yours truly, Glenn Moore, and the host with the most, WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler. How are you, King?
Dinner with the King is back.
Yeah.
Big news, right? You know what I always say when I say, that's like I would say to you, I'm glad to see you're back, especially after seeing your front. Oh, well. But anyway, we're back. Have we been gone? Or what's the deal?
We took a week off last week, and a lot of catching up to do. A lot of not only stories in WWE, but we got to recap a big match you had with our last guest of the podcast, Matt Riviere. We're going to talk about that. But we have a whole slew of topics to get into, and we might have a surprise guest, too.
We may have a surprise guest. And it will be a sort of a surprise for a lot of people. They'll be thinking, why would you have this guy on? We'll see.
We'll see.
And I only mean that because I mean, it's somebody that, it's sort of like Matt Riviere, somebody that mostly in my career I've fought against, but in the upcoming match, he's going to be my partner. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So look, I know who it is.
Well, we can tell. I don't care. I mean, he's actually coming here to my house shortly. He's en route right now. So
a blank in your house? Oh my God.
A what?
Well, I want to reveal it. You can reveal who our surprise guest is.
A blank in my house.
Insert last name here.
That doesn't sound good.
It could be anything.
It could be anything. You're right. But anyway, what do you want to tell? I don't care.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dangerous Doug Gilbert. Dangerous Doug Gilbert. Wow. We got a big show coming up on Saturday, it is Saturday, March the 9th up in Jackson, Tennessee. And it's the Eddie Gilbert Memorial Show for Doug's late brother, Eddie Gilbert. And it's going to be a huge show in Jackson. And first time, maybe the first time ever, I'm not sure. But anyway, Doug and I we've wound up going to be partners on this big show. Going to be partners. Going to be partners. That may not work well.
Yeah, being tag team partners, but let alone a Gilbert in the Lawler house. I mean, that's mind blowing.
I know, that is kind of crazy, isn't it?
Jeez. You have to make sure everything is there after he leaves. Nothing is taken.
Are you accusing him of being dishonest?
You got to check your wallet, make sure it's still there. I don't know. Let's watch yourself, King. But no, Dangerous Doug Gilbert.
I never remember that's the first time that's how I met Doug Gilbert. Reached back to get my wallet and shook hands with Doug. That's what the heck?
Jesus. Oh my God. Well, looking forward to having Dangerous Doug Gilbert on the podcast. He's one of those guys that I wanted to have on the podcast, but wanted to have in person. But I think having him in the same room in Memphis while I'm up here in Cleveland will do just fine.
Yeah. And he is going to be on in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need me.
Oh, no. No, I don't mean that. I mean, just like it's you, me, and him in person instead of being on the phone like Matt Riviere was last week.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Matt Riviere had a great – I mean, I Listen, we had Terry Funk on the podcast, Jim Cornette, guys with great rapport, you guys that you can go back and forth with. But I'll say this, Matt Riviera held his own. I mean, I don't mean to, side with the dark side, King, but I mean, Riviera, he held his own. I love his Abraham Lincoln line. That was a good joke.
Oh yeah, funny.
That was a good one. But
first time I heard that, I kicked the slats out of my crib. He's always coming up with some new lines, I guess. So,
yeah, he's supposed to be going.
Unfortunately, his funniest lines are in his face.
Jesus.
But other than that,
well, speaking of lines on his face, yeah, that big cut, he was split open.
Yeah, see, it was really an old school show. I mean, you don't see that in matches much anymore. But there he was, all bloody at the end of the show.
I watched it.
You did?
I mean, I wasn't there in person, but someone posted it on YouTube, the whole match. Matt Riviera coming out on a car into the arena. And I think our buddy, good friend of the podcast, JP Diamond, he actually posted the video on Twitter and tagged me so I can watch it. And I watched the whole match. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Except for the
sort of fun. I mean, till the aftermath.
Oh, my God.
Oh, can you hear the phone? Can you hear the phone? Can you hear the knock on the phone? The doorbell is ringing. The dog's about to start barking and everything. Hang on. Let me go let Doug Gilbert in.
All right.
Well, all right, Glenn. He has arrived. He is here in the King Lawler abode. Doug Gilbert. Hello, Doug.
Hello, King. Glenn, I figure people wouldn't ever think this would have happened, but actually it has.
Yeah, that's what Glenn said earlier. What? He's going to be in your house?
Actually, I have arrived.
Have you ever been in my house before? You've been in my house before,
I've been in your house, I think, 1 or 2 times, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know why, but he has been here.
Hey, hold on a second. I know I was one of them guys. I just listened to the podcast a while ago. What'd y'all say? Who all was those guys that he'd mentioned that had come and knocked on his door randomly? And I thought, what'd he say? One of them broke his window out. And
that was Randy Savage.
Well, we hadn't broke no windows out yet, so that's a good start. And hold on. Oh, Matt Riviera happened to be the
showed up
one.
with a camera crew.
Right, exactly. And so everybody's been trying to get a little something from the King, I think.
And when I lived over on Walnut Grove, I've had all kind of people showed up, and we fought out in the backyard and every kind of thing.
Well, he had all kind of people show up. He had some show up and stayed and lived in his backyard, I think.
Well, that was downtown Bruno. Sure did.
Hold on a second. I wasn't going to say that.
Wait, I thought you were talking about Glenn.
Well, I actually I was talking about Glenn, but it was downtown Bruno, wasn't it?
Well, anyway, we're glad that you're here. Glenn has been wanting to have you on the show, and we've talked about having you on before, and I had figured it would always be by telephone. But now this is even better because you just happened to be down here in Memphis and gave me a call because we got to be on speaking terms, right, Doug?
We most definitely got to be on speaking terms.
Okay, because it's going to be the Eddie Gilbert Memorial Show Saturday, March 9th at the Omen Arena in Jackson, Tennessee. It's going to be a huge card. I'm really looking forward to that. But Bert Prentice has outdone himself on this, hasn't he?
Oh, King, he's done a great job. I mean, and I mean, my brother's all-time rival, Jerry the King Lawler, and his idol. One of the things that Jerry had said that it really sticks to my heart was he said, I heard Glenn, you and him talking one day on here on one of your podcasts, and he said that when he thought about Eddie, it reminded him so much of himself. And I mean, he was talking about as far as wrestling, and if anybody can be as good as King, you're great. So
you know one thing, and I just sort of realized it this past week. It was funny how history sort of repeats itself. In reality, like you and Eddie, kids growing up, your dad, Tommy, was a famous wrestler. He was on Memphis Wrestling a lot, and he partnered with Eddie Marlin, tag team champions, and Tommy had a great career.
The first guy you beat for the Southern title.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to bring that up. Yeah. But you know what? It's funny that I always looked at it sort of as like, even though Tommy was your dad and Eddie's, Eddie, like you said, watched me and sort of, I was like somebody that he wanted to emulate more so than I had probably, just maybe because he was around Tommy all the time. And he looked at me, I think, more of as as a star because he looked at Tommy as his dad.
Well, I think that would be the reason. And I mean, my dad, more like, and I think you'd agree with me on this, King, is my dad was more of a Luthez type wrestler, and my brother didn't see the charisma and the what could we call it here to say that's all your charisma and everything that you had. And as far as, I mean, my brother kind of, I think I've heard you say it before, and I'll tell everybody, patterned his career after years. And I mean, I wrestled my brother dozens of times, and I thought he was great. He about killed me a few times, but I thought he was great. But I mean, all the stuff that he done with you, I just thought it was great. And
where I was going with this, though, the funny thing that I just was talking about, and I saw it a long time ago, but it seems ironic to me that my son Kevin, he as he was growing up, he was watching wrestling. He idolized Eddie Gilbert.
Well, and that's right, and I remember that because I remember, and a lot of people don't even know this. When ECW started, it started with my brother. My brother was the one that up in Philadelphia, ECW. It started with Todd Gordon as the owner. My brother was the booker. But the reason Todd started it, he called my brother and asked him to come up there and book and get the company started. And so Eddie carried Kevin up there with him, which I went up there with him, which I was going to Japan quite often then. I'd go to Japan, but then I'd fly back into Philadelphia. I didn't like that part very much as far as staying in Philadelphia because I wanted to come home to Tennessee. But anyway, he carried Kevin, and Kevin stayed up there the whole time. Like I'd fly home and stay home for weeks till the shows was, and I'd come back. But Kevin stayed up there, and Kevin and Eddie worked close together, and Kevin went out and got some towns and different things. And I mean, that's stuff that nobody knows.
And speaking of stuff that nobody knows, I had never seen this before, but Kevin and I were talking the other day about the fact that, we were doing this tribute to your brother, the show in Jackson on March 9th. And Kevin says, yeah, they need to have Freddie Gilbert on the show. And immediately the only thing that went through my mind was I thought he was talking about Freddie Krueger.
As far as
because your dad, Tommy, when I was booking, I booked Tommy as Freddie Krueger. He was perfect. I mean, I had the great mask and
Glenn, you probably hadn't, but I know I've listened to your show. You Google everything. You probably Google it while I'm talking, but the King had my dad do it, the Freddie thing, and man, it got over just awesome. I mean, it was unthinkable.
Yeah, he was. I mean, because he did it so good. He was a perfect Freddie Krueger for that gimmick. And so when Kevin said, "Have Freddie Gilbert on," that's what I thought he was talking about. And I said, "Yeah, that would be good to have Freddie Krueger." He said, "No, I mean Freddie Gilbert, me." I said, "What do you mean Freddie Gilbert, you?" He said, "Yeah, when I went up to ECW with Eddie Gilbert, we did a deal on TV where he introduced me as his brother, Freddie." Did you? I
sure
didn't
did.
know that.
Oh yeah, yeah, he sure did, and it was good. And Kevin, like I said, he had his spot there with Eddie, and he stayed. We had a 3-bedroom apartment, and like I said, Kevin went out and did just like office stuff. Went out and got some towns and got shows, and he done all kinds of different things. Managed, he did all kinds of things with us.
Dang, that's funny. Well, anyway, I don't know how we got off on Freddie Gilbert. Maybe you need to have him on that show.
Yeah, we need Freddie there.
But anyway, yeah, we're talking a little bit about the Eddie Gilbert Memorial Show that's coming up March 9th in Jackson, Tennessee. And like you said, Bert has outdone himself. We got handsome Jimmy Valiant is coming back to be on the show.
Hey, the Boogie Woogie Man will be there. I mean, everybody be happy to see
Bill
him.
Superstar Dundee.
The Superstar will sure be there.
And then, of course, Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Me and you're going to see him,
yeah,
right?
he's teaming up now with Matt Riviera against you and I. That's
and
crazy.
It's not going to be too good for him and everything. And also, you kind of left off, what about, it's been a long time, I'm sure, since the people have seen the Good Doctor. What about Tom Prichard?
Pritchard's going to be there. Guess who else is going to be there? Phil Hickerson.
From Jackson's own Phil Hickerson. That's what I was going to tell you. I want to carry that lover boy Matt Riviera right out because we can do it Falls Count anywhere. If old Phil will be sitting right out there somewhere, carry him right there, old Phil. You remember how Phil used to throw them forearms and punches?
Gosh, yes.
We carry him right out there and let old lover boy Phil one of them, and I don't think he'd know what to think.
I mean, so many great wrestlers that were, good friends with your brother Eddie and wrestled with him and wrestled against him and everything are going to be there. I remember like yesterday when the Fabs left. And I had to put together. I was in a panic. I'm saying, oh my gosh, the Fabs are leaving. How are we going to replace them? So I got Eddie and Tommy Rich and Jackie Fargo, and we created the new Fabulous Ones.
That's what I was just thinking when I was looking at his name there. I was thinking about the Fabulous One days. Now here, me and you're wrestling him and Matt Riviera, which that was what you had a million great ideas, but I'm not so sure about that one. But
you know what? It was hard to fill the shoes of Steve and Stan,
right?
And the guys did good. They made good money.
Yeah,
and they drew as well, but
yeah.
there was just always some resentment there from certain fans that just felt like they were trying to rip off Steve and Stan. But it wasn't Eddie and Tommy's fault. It was my fault. I was just trying to replace those guys.
It was just like Eddie told me one time. He said, "Well, we're just kind of like extra crispy." He said, "We're not the originals. We're just kind of extra crispy." And I thought, that's good. You laugh about it.
Well, what did you think? We had this match last week called the Thunderdome, Glenn, and you said you watched it, and it was, Bert went out and had Mike Samples make this huge cage, really nice cage, and we had the match, and now after it was over, of course, Matt. It didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. He got a little bloody, which is very unusual in wrestling these days, but he got his face kind of cut up a little bit.
Oh, he got real bloody.
Yeah, he did.
He got real bloody.
And then now he's come up with the idea that he said the cage is not big enough and Oman Arena is not even big enough. He wants the falls to count on this match anywhere in the county, right?
He said anywhere in Madison County, which that's Jackson, the whole county there in Madison County. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't think Matt Riviera, which I would think he wouldn't even want to come back to Jackson after what I seen the King do to him in the cage. And I think the only thing that saved him a couple of times was referees, him throwing them in between him and the King, because it wasn't a good night for referees at the Oman Arena, because there's about 3 or 4 of them that left carried out too.
One got a little burnt, singed.
One King singed one, throwing fire at Loverboy, but he grabbed the referee and jerked in front of him. But like I said, it wasn't a good night for the referees, but it wasn't a good night for Matt Riviera either.
Jerry Calhoun was there. He was the cager, the key holder there, and so. Yeah, he got a little roughed up.
Well, he got roughed up, and that's where we get back to Tommy Rich. And what King, what was it? When I seen it, I was looking from the stairs there and watching, and all of a sudden when I see a long blonde-headed fella coming with a referee shirt on.
Yeah.
I thought, what's going on here?
Well, that's happened to me a couple of times up there. I got screwed up with Matt Riviera coming out with a referee shirt on, and then once again, the referee gets. Well, he got burned, of course, and then all of a sudden, here comes Tommy Rich out trying to get in the cage with the referee shirt on.
And so when I saw that, I thought, well, I better do something. So I started the ring, and some people started going, boo, and I thought, well, hold on a second here. I'm finally trying to do something good, and here everybody's going to boo me. And then when I got to Tommy Rich and got him off Calhoun and hit him 2 or 3 times and run him into the cage, and things kind of turned around.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you being my partner, but I will say this. I've gotten a few text messages from people once they saw what this card was and once they saw what the teams were. It hadn't been that long ago that you were partnered up with Tommy Rich.
Well.
And then a lot of people said, oh, my gosh, Eddie was one of my biggest opponents ever. And then all of a sudden, it's the Eddie Gilbert Memorial, Tommy Rich, and Doug Gilbert. They said this would be the perfect opportunity for Doug Gilbert to turn on you, King.
Well, King, the only thing about that is, like you said, it is the Eddie Gilbert Tribute Memorial Show. And we can't talk about the partners that we've had, or I could go back in history with you, and you would probably scratch your head at a few that you've had. And thing, but I can guarantee you one thing: there'll be I won't turn on you, and I don't know what them other two will do. They might turn on each other, but before the night's over, it's going to be a bad night in the Oman Arena and maybe outside the Oman Arena for Tommy Wildfire Rich and
if I were to see Matt Riviera, I'd like to stop off at Long John Silver's on the way. If I see Matt Riviera in the parking lot or Long John Silver's or somewhere like that, he's in trouble. He's gonna get jumped on all night long.
Now he's so infatuated with you. This is what this.
It's almost like another Eddie Gilbert deal, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I thank goodness Eddie Gilbert was 100 times better than Matt Riviera.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
But I don't think you'd say Matt Riviera reminds himself of you, like I've heard you say about my brother did. But I mean, it's a different. But I mean, it is Glenn. It's like an infatuation that he's got, and I don't know, but I think the 9th, March 9th, I think we'll see a lot of. And like the King said, you don't see much blood anymore, but you saw a lot last time in that cage when the King was running his head into that cage. And I'm going to be willing to say all over that building and probably outside, you're going to see some blood flow from his head again. Oh, and I don't care how many $1 million or whatever you say he's got, that don't keep that head from bleeding when these big fists hit it. And believe me, I know I've been hit by the King numerous times, so I know how hard his fist is.
Well, Doug, it's going to be a big night. It's Saturday, March 9th, Jackson, Tennessee, Oman Arena, or anywhere in Madison County, possibly. I'm so looking forward to seeing all of those guys that I haven't seen Phil Hickerson in a long, long time. It's been a while since I saw Tom Prichard. Been a while since I saw handsome Jimmy Valiant. It's going to be a great homecoming.
Hey, it's going to be great. Burt Prentice has outdone himself this time. And, man, King, you don't know how much I appreciate just you yourself going to be there. Like I said, you was my brother's idol, and anybody can say what they want. Now, you can go back and watch, and you can pull up on YouTube. You can Google whatever you want, and you'll find Eddie Gilbert, Jerry Lawler, and you'll find stuff like
He started throwing the fire, started wearing a crown. He did everything.
He done everything. And then there's one clip where you threw fire. It looked like you had a whole, like a ammunition of fire. It went from his feet to above his head and everything.
That may be the best fireball ever.
Oh, that one was great and everything. But I saw Glenn said that too. What he said, he didn't need any more fireworks at the casino because that was all the fire he posted on Twitter, I think.
Exactly.
But anyway, King. But like I said, I sure appreciate you coming. Like I said, it wouldn't be right without you there. And like I said, Phil Hickerson being there from Jackson, everybody that's known Phil from the past, from being with Frank Morrell and with Dennis Condrey and with all the guys. And then, like I said, Tom Prichard hadn't been here in years, and everybody get to see him. And the Boogie Woogie Man, I guess he'll fly into Mempho, won't he?
Rolling into Mempho, TWA. I don't think they don't still have TWA.
I don't think so. Maybe he's rolling on something else now.
Well, anyway, Doug, I appreciate you being on, and we'll maybe call you up and talk to you about the outcome of this match next week. How would that be?
Hey, that'd be great. I appreciate y'all guys having me on. Glenn, you take it easy, and King, it was great to see you.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Kings of the Ring is wrestling's first audio drama podcast as a fictional depiction of the 1980s wrestling industry in and out of the ring. Join us as we take you back to the 1980s. You'll be a fly in the wall in the locker rooms of the past while the wrestlers put together matches. We'll take you into the jam-packed arenas where the rabid fans of the past believed everything they saw was real. We'll take you inside the ring where you'll hear what the wrestlers talk about and you can feel the action. We'll take you to the underbelly of the arena where the wrestlers got into all sorts of trouble. And we'll take you to the bars and clubs where the boys got into even more trouble. And it wouldn't be 80s wrestling if we didn't end up at the hotel room. Search Kings of the Ring from any podcast app or go straight to the website kingsotr.com.
Well, King, first time having dangerous Doug Gilbert on the podcast. We got to get him back on soon, and not just after the next match you have as a tag team partner, but down the line for maybe a more in-depth podcast about Memphis wrestling with
and talk a little more about him. We talked a lot about his brother Eddie and everything. We'll talk a little more about Doug. Now, let me ask you this: you're up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
Still probably cold and windy and everything, but that's up in north. I mean, right? The only thing further north than Cleveland is Canada.
Canada.
So let me ask you: Did Doug's accent sound a little southern?
Oh my God, it's hardcore Southern.
It's so funny. I don't know. And he's not. I don't know, his brother Eddie or his dad Tommy. They didn't really have that much of a Southern accent, but man, Doug has really got a Southern accent.
Oh my God. Well, that's in March 9th. Now, geez, it's not this week. Is going to be March 1st already. I can't believe February.
Isn't that crazy?
But King, any bookings?
I'm going to start putting up Christmas trees pretty soon.
Jesus, keep them up.
Yeah.
You got a date coming up this Sunday?
A date? Oh, you mean a wrestling date?
Well, Saturday and Sunday, you're busy.
Yeah, man, I'm busy. You're right. Thanks for reminding me because, this Saturday, March the 2nd, South Fulton, Kentucky, big benefits at the South Fulton High School to benefit their sophomore class. They got some activities going on up there. But anyway, a big card in South Fulton, Kentucky. I was up there not too long ago and had a great turnout. A lot of great wrestling fans up in that area. But I'm going up against this guy. First time. There's not many times that I can say I'm wrestling somebody for the first time. But this guy is called Monster John Irons.
Oh.
Have you seen a picture of him?
Well, I did some research, and I did find out what he looks like.
Yeah, I saw a picture on the poster that Burt Prentice put out, and he's scary looking.
He's not. He doesn't look too friendly, King.
No. Got tattoos all over. He got hair all over him. It's sort of reminiscent almost of George the Animal Steel. He's so hairy and everything. But, it looks like a kind of big guy. But anyway, that's where I'm going to be Saturday night. And I'm actually going to drive up to you can't fly up there from Memphis. So I'll be driving up through Union City and then going right up to South Fulton. And then I'll have to drive back after the matches are over. I'll probably get back home like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Sunday at 4 p.m., I got to be in Waterbury, Connecticut. So I'm going to have to get up at like probably 4 o'clock in the morning after getting in at 1 and be out at the airport at 5, catch a flight at 6 a.m. to New York City, and then go from New York to Waterbury, Connecticut. Jeez. And I got a chance up there to win my 100, let's see, what would it be, 170th?
I think it's 160. I think it's 169.
Oh, I got 168 right now, right?
Yeah, so it'll be 169.
Yeah, that's a good number. I would like 169 because it's a Northeast Wrestling tag team title match.
Oh my!
Me and Keith Youngblood. Yeah, you know Keith is a really fine-looking young athlete. He and I are going to be teaming up against that King Brian Anthony's Royal Court. Why is it everybody wants to be like Matt Riviera? And we talked about Eddie Gilbert. Everybody wants to be like the King.
Everybody wants to use the King.
Yes.
The King gimmick. There was a promo someone posted. I think it was Josh Mathis on Twitter. Back when I think of USWA days, and it was back when you and Bret Hart were feuding in Memphis, and you go on a rant saying just because you win some rinky-dink 3-man tournament, you win 3 matches in some rinky-dink tournament doesn't make you a king. All these people want to be king of the ring, or king so-and-so.
And now they just go out to what is it, Party City or something, and buy a little plastic crown. That's what this King Brian Anthony up there in Northeast Wrestling has done, and it's so ridiculous looking, his little outfits. I think he's upgraded a little bit, but anyway, King Brian Anthony, he's gone out and he's got himself a royal court, he calls it. I think he's got a jester and he's got a couple of these guys, and these guys. Dangerous Daniel Evans and Lord Anthony Battle have somehow won the Northeast Wrestling Tag Team titles. And so in Waterbury, Connecticut, this coming Sunday I'm going to be going for those titles, me and Keith the Youngblood. So that should be good. And that's at the Waterbury PAL, which is the Police Athletic League at the Waterbury PAL building. And it's going to be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 p.m. Meet and greet starts at like 2:30. So come on out there if you're in the Waterbury, Connecticut area. It's
booked as Lucha Mania 2.
Yeah.
Pentagon Jr. for all the internet marks out there. Pentagon Jr. is going to be there.
Yeah.
So a lot of lucha. Will you be doing any flips off the top rope, King?
I may. You never can tell. Well, look at that. I mean, how much am I wrestling? What's up with this? I'm up there almost with Ric Flair, who just, he just had his 70th birthday, and I'm out here wrestling every single week.
Yeah, what's up with that? Where's the recognition for the king?
What do you mean?
I mean,
I hate birthdays. I don't like for anybody to talk about.
Not a birthday. Just people are turning 70 years old. No offense to Rick, but barely walked to the ring, and you're doing drop kicks.
Oh, don't say that. No, I think Rick's in fine shape.
No, he did look in great shape.
And I want to say I haven't even got the chance to talk to Rick since that time, but Lauren and I were invited by Rick's wife down there to go to the party that they had. Not the one on Raw, but the actual birthday party that they had for Rick. And I was, when the night that was when I was wrestling up in Jackson against that idiot Matt Riviera.
Oh my God! Would you have wanted to hang out with Charles Barkley and Dennis Rodman?
Well, I actually played golf with Charles Barkley one time.
Oh, no way!
What?
Oh, you golf with Charles Barkley?
Let me just tell you this: Charles Barkley and I go way back.
No,
way back.
You lying?
Have I not ever told you that story?
No.
Well, I probably don't want to get into this, but Charles Barkley, back when I got married out in Las Vegas to Stacy, Miss Kitty, all that sort of stuff.
Cat.
Charles Barkley paid for our wedding.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much was that? I mean, how much did that cost?
It's like $4,000.
Oh my God! Well, I mean, why?
Because he's kind of suggested where we had. Charles Barkley used to hang out a lot at MGM.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a known gambler, so I'm sure Vegas is one.
Easy, don't totally. A lot of people listen to this podcast, and Charles may be one of them.
Oh, he admits it though. He admits he's a gambler.
Well, and at this time, he was hanging out a lot with. Charles was hanging out there with Tiger Woods, and with Michael Jordan. Yeah. They were like the Three Musketeers at MGM ground. They had their own high roller room there and everything. And anyway, I'd met Charles at one of the WWE shows. He would come to him, and we became kind of friends. He invited me to go play golf with him. Me and Stacy went and played golf with him one day, just the three of us. Tiger Woods called him while we're in the golf cart, and he was talking to Tiger Woods. But and he had said we were getting married. He said, "You guys ought to have it out here." And so anyway, we wound up having it there. And for some reason, at the last minute, he got called to Birmingham, Alabama, to speak at some kind of thing, and he couldn't be at the wedding, which he had promised us he would be. And then when we got ready to leave the hotel, we had to pay for all the. It was a beautiful place that we had it in, everything room, and got ready to pay, and they said, "Oh, it's taken care of. Mr. Barkley took care of everything." So that was cool.
That's amazing. Okay, all right. So you guys go back.
Yeah. Hey, I hobnobbed with the big name, some big name people. Just like this past weekend. What about me hanging out with Kiss?
With Kiss, the King and Kiss in Memphis, Tennessee.
It was so great. I mean, I put it up on Twitter. I have a picture made with a lot of famous people, from Muhammad Ali to, there's a lot of famous people all the way to the President of the United States. But hanging out and getting the picture made with Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons and the rest of the Kiss, that was like my coolest picture ever, I think.
Now here's where I have a little bone to pick with you, King.
Okay, go ahead.
You get on me when you take me backstage at Raw or Comic Cons, and I see people, wrestlers that I mark out for, and you look at me like I have lobsters coming out of my ears. You mark out for Kiss, all these different bands.
I mark out for a lot of people. You see the other Comic Cons.
I know how it feels to mark out then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I do, yeah.
But I can't mark out for my wrestlers.
Yeah, sure you can. You do.
No, you make fun of me.
I do not make fun of you.
Laura makes fun of me.
You were so marking out for when we were backstage and with with Paige, you completely mark out, but with Ronda Rousey,
it wasn't that bad. I just said,
And even though you'd met her before, well, of course I'd met Paul Stanley before.
Yeah, but he's Kiss. That's Kiss.
Yeah, man. Oh, it was so good. What a show! What an amazing show they did here in Memphis at FedEx Forum. Of course, it's into the road tour. I'm sure the show is the same every night. It's just unbelievable that these guys, the energy that they put out. And they had just done a show the night before in New Orleans. The weather was real bad down in this area last weekend, and so their flight from New Orleans to get into Memphis was like an hour and a half late. And so when I got down to the FedEx Forum, the guy with the KISS management had called me and said, just get there about 7. So, of course, I got there like 6:30. I want to make sure I was on time and everything, right? And when I got there at 6:30, I gave the guy a call. Well, about 6:45, I gave the guy a call, and he said, man, they just landed. They just landed out of the airport. And he said they took off from New Orleans, and the plane had to turn around and go back and then get out till like an hour and a half late. So anyway, they had just gotten there. And so it was a hectic deal. You can imagine how long it takes to get in all that makeup and everything.
Oh my goodness.
And then what they do, they have a big meet and greet, and man, more power to them. These guys do a meet and greet, and I think it costs like $1,000 a picture. That's what you pay. Your ticket is like $1,000 that includes a meet and greet and your seat to the concert. And they had, like, I would estimate 250 people waiting in their meet and greet line. So the manager, it was amazing. So the manager came and got us, me and Lauren and her dad, who we took because he was a huge KISS fan. That was his Christmas present. So they came and got us. They brought us down with all the people, and then they took us in the back first. And so we were standing there waiting, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're just standing there, and the cameras are set up, getting ready for them to do all the big photo shoot. And, man, all of a sudden, here they come walking in, and Paul Stanley just comes right over, arms outstretched, and he says, Jerry, man, how you doing? And he was just in a great mood, talking, and introduced him to Lauren and everybody, and he was just really cool. He said, you guys come on over, let's do pictures and stuff. And so we went over and did pictures first, and then they started letting all the people in, and they just let us stand there while everybody else just got rushed through. And so, because really the show was supposed to start, I think, at like 8 o'clock, and it wound up starting at like 9:15. Because they had to do all the pictures, and they got there so late and everything, But It was so cool. It was so neat. It was like you're just hanging out back there with them, as they were doing their deal as everybody went through to get the pictures. Then we got to go up and stand. And Lauren got Gene Simmons signed her. Gene Simmons is cool in the back. I say cool. A lot of people don't think it's cool, but he doesn't speak. He's the demon. Once he gets in character, gets the makeup on, he don't speak. So it was kind of cool that then Lauren, after it was all over, we got to follow them as they were walking out to the stage. We were walking right behind them, and so then, but Lauren went up in front of him and says, Gene, could I get you to sign my shirt? And she had made this special white KISS T-shirt, that said "Kiss Me" on it. And so he looked at her for a second, and then he took her Sharpie and he just threw the cap over her shoulder, and he just signed right across her boobs. Gene Simmons. So she was all excited about that. And then, we had seats that they had left us tickets for. But then the manager says, why don't you guys just, why don't you just come follow the band and then go right to the side of the stage and just watch from there. So we were just on the side of the stage and watched the whole show. It was just so cool, just what a show. And one thing, there were like 5 people. There were me, Lauren, her dad, and then there was another couple that got to stand there too. They were maybe 10 feet away from us, but there was a guy and a girl, and they're standing there watching the show as well, right? And it was maybe, I don't know, man, they're playing all the stuff, and Gene Simmons was over at one point. He was on that side of the stage, right? And so I'm telling you, like, we were real close. They were up a little higher than we were, but with all of a sudden, Gene Simmons is playing, he's rocking out and everything, and he looks down at this guy and girl that are standing like 10 feet away from us, and the girl was texting on her phone.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. Look, at first I thought he wasn't serious, but all of a sudden, Gene Simmons, right in the middle of the song, he just, he's like rocking out, but he just looks at her, and he throws his arms out like, what the heck? What the heck are you doing? And then she's all of a sudden, their boyfriend punches her, and she looks up, and Gene Simmons acts like he's got a phone in his hand, like he's texting, right? And he does the texting deal, and he's looking right at her, and then he goes, like, you're out of here.
Oh.
He does his hands like, thumbs up, right? And then he goes back to playing. And I said, I told Lauren, and I said, she got in trouble. And then all of a sudden, about 3 or 4 minutes later, a guy comes up to him and talks to him and leads him out the back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I've heard a lot of people do that, like this shows. I heard that, what's his name? Kevin Hart did that, had somebody thrown out when they were texting during the show. And I mean, you can imagine, hey, you're up there, you're busting your butt, and you're putting on this fantastic show. And all of a sudden you look down and here's somebody that's obviously like getting special treatment just to be where they are. And they're sitting there texting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would kind of get you.
Well, especially if they're right there with you guys. Of course, they had to know somebody with the band to be able to stand there like you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then come on, you just don't. You don't. That was like I don't know.
Very disrespectful. It's like if you were wrestling and somebody was on their phone, right? I mean, you get upset, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, exactly. So somebody sitting out there texting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to get on to Lauren several times about that. But anyway.
Anyway,
no, that was so much fun. It was so great, and I just enjoyed it so much. And Lauren's dad, that was like the highlight of his life, and getting this picture made with the guys and everything. It was just a cool night. And then we went up from there up to the club, and some people came, hung out. It was a fun night. A lot of people came in town for the Kiss concert.
You know how old Gene Simmons is?
Gene Simmons, I do exactly. Gene Simmons is 69, and
he's older. He's older than you.
Yeah, he's 69, and what's his name is 67, Paul Stanley. And
right.
I'm telling you, the amount of energy that these guys expend during the show is just mind-boggling. And the show itself, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then another thing, and then all of a sudden at the end, I kept noticing they had these little they were little boxes almost. I mean, if you just looked at them from out on the stage, they were like these little boxes. They were maybe 6.5 feet tall or something like that, and maybe 4 feet wide. And I kept noticing Gene would go like, he would go over and during the song or between songs or whatever, if Paul was talking, Gene would go and stand inside, like walk into this little box where you couldn't see him. And his manager told us later, those are called their condos. They each have a little condo on the stage, and each one they have like a air conditioner that blows right up on them inside that little condo, where they can just like take a break from the people to be seen and just kind of refresh or whatever. Gene Simmons especially, he says sweats like crazy. Just unbelievable, just sweating like crazy. So he goes into his little condo and gets some cool air several times during the show. And then towards the end of the show, he's up there doing some of this, rocking out and everything. And all of a sudden he walks over and he just kicks his freaking condo. I mean, he just kicks a big high kick to the top of it, and it almost falls over, right? Huh. And then later on, after the show, the manager said that you see him kick his condo. I said, yeah. He said, oh my gosh, it was I guess whoever was doing the pyro was just missing all the cues all night long, he said. Oh. Then Gene was so mad. Of course, I mean, it's one of those things, nobody watching the show, you couldn't tell it. But, I mean, that's how much of a perfectionist that Gene Simmons is, if those cues, if the pyro was off by a second, he would notice it. And they said he was really upset with that night.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved it.
Well, good time for the King and all these celebrities. Look at you. All these rubbing elbows with Barkley and the president. But
I'm marking out, man.
Yeah, I watched some videos of Flair's birthday party, the actual birthday party. A lot of people were there. It was a big event.
Yeah, Charles Barkley was there, and what's the other guy, the other basketball player that goes?
Dennis Rodman was there.
Yeah, goes to North Korea a lot.
Yeah, he saved the world. Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, that's what he claims, right?
Well, Flair had his birthday party on Raw the next, couple days later.
2 nights later, yeah.
Yeah, on Raw. And Sting was there. Ricky Steamboat was there. Kurt Angle was there. Who else came? Shawn Michaels was there.
Yeah.
And they're waiting in the ring for them, and all the superstars are on the stage. And then Batista makes his return, beats up Flair. And looking at the setup, a possible Batista Triple H match at WrestleMania that I think we talked about it before a little bit on the podcast before, but for SmackDown 1000. But looks like it's back
yeah. I
on.
mean, it looked like that was definitely going to happen, and then of course Triple H got that injury.
Yeah.
And then it looked like that match was off, but now apparently Triple H, Triple H has always been, he's like an amazing recuperative powers. He heals quickly. And so, so does Vince McMahon, to be honest with you. But anyway, he's back and ready to go, and he's healed up, and I would think that's going to be the match at WrestleMania, Triple H and Batista. What did you think, though? I mean, I don't know. How did you think that made Rick look?
I mean, he is one of the best ever, greatest ever, but he is fragile. I mean, he almost died a year and a half ago. Even though he gained a lot of weight back, which is great. But I mean, of course, a young guy like Batista is going to beat the crap out of Flair. I mean, that's I don't know.
I
mean, it didn't. I mean, I get what you're saying. You wouldn't want to be shown like that, right?
I don't think so. No, I mean, I don't know. You know what? When you're in the business, what you do is you say, "Hey, man, anything you want to do,
right.
I'm game for it." Right. And I'm sure that's the way that went. I don't know. I just thought when I saw that they were having Ric Flair's birthday party, that's just the way wrestling is. When you have a birthday party, something's going to happen,
right,
with a cake or whatever. And I just thought that they were going to use it in some sort of way to do something with Charlotte.
Right.
But then again, it was pretty effective. It was pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed the ending. Batista coming out, and let's say in the matchup, it was definitely a swerve. I wasn't.
Yeah, I really like
Batista.
That. I really do.
Yeah, but then the following night on SmackDown, Charlotte comes out, and I don't think she said anything about her dad being attacked on Raw.
I know it.
What's up with that? I mean, I know she's like a bad woman now, playing the heel, and you're not supposed to sell something that happened to your father, which is more sympathy towards your a good guy like her father. But geez, her dad just got attacked on Raw, and there's nothing at all from her.
Yep, you're right.
I don't get that.
I don't get it either.
I mean, I want to see Batista versus Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Hey, the one big thing though that was Batista versus Charlotte.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
I know you are, but anyway, the one cool thing about Raw was the fact Roman Reigns being back on there. Man, he looked terrific, and that's such good news that everything's in remission and looks. Did you see him the next morning on Good Morning America too?
I didn't see it. I just read what he said.
Oh, yes, really good, and just he looked tremendous. I'm so glad for him that he's doing better.
Yeah, he even got involved on Raw. He threw a couple of Superman punches, and
I know, man. He's back. He's back, ready to go.
4 months after announcing that his leukemia, came back, he's in remission and looking like he's going to be at WrestleMania.
Well, I'll see him there, hopefully. I think I'm going to hopefully be hosting the Hall of Fame once again. And speaking of that, there's just all kind of WWE news. My cousin, Honky Tonk Man, has been announced. He's going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, about time he said yes, right?
Do what?
About time he said yes.
Oh, I don't know. Did you heard that he's turned it down before?
I heard that he turned it down because he had another booking that weekend.
Oh,
back. I guess they announced him. I guess they wanted to get him in 2011 or something. And I heard that he had another booking. He said, sorry, I got another booking.
Well, you know what? I mean, they keep that thing pretty secret, and I don't blame them, to try to who's going to be inducted. But remember a few weeks ago back on the podcast when I said they called me and wanted to get Honky Tonk's number?
Yeah.
But then I didn't, and I thought at first, I said, oh, they're going to put him in the Hall of Fame and they're going to announce it. But then when we went out there and they did the thing with Jeff Jarrett, then I thought, oh no, they were just trying to call Honky Tonk Man to get him to come and do the deal that they did with Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
But I was wrong. It was they were trying to get him to be in the Hall of Fame, which that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. But who's going to induct the Honky Tonk Man? I mean, you're hosting, so it's not like you can induct him.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't want me to induct him anyway.
Why not?
I don't know. You know what? I mean,
you guys get along. What's up with you guys?
We're never around each other.
Yeah, but
ever.
He's always doing shoot interviews and saying all this stuff. I mean,
well, that's what I was going to say. The only time every time we've ever been around each other, and the time he was doing the shoot interviews, I finally called him up and I said, "What's up?" And he said, "Man, I'm just trying to work an angle. Can you imagine what that would do if we get this thing going and get it all going over social media?" And I said, "Well, I'm not interested in that."
Put me over, cuz.
Yeah, come on, man. But anyway, that was no. Whenever we've actually ever been around each other, we're working together and everything. Everything was fine.
Yeah, there was a photo of you.
I saw him.
I
saw him not too long ago up in where was it? Over in the Carolinas or something. At a wrestler convention type thing or whatever.
Yeah, you guys took a photo together, smiling. You guys.
Yeah. I mean, we've never had any words or anything.
Yeah.
Other than social media, you know how that social media does.
Oh my God!
But congratulations to him. That's good, man.
Also, DX is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Some means China is going to be part in the Hall of Fame.
That is I'm so happy about that. I really am. I'm so thrilled with the fact that China will actually be inducted. I just wish she were still here to be there in person.
So Triple H, Road Dogg, Badass, X-Pac, China will be in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure Triple H will be a two-timer. I'm sure he'll go in on his own down the road. But DX in the Hall of Fame. Now there's rumors of other Hall of Fame inductees for this year. One is a group called the Hart Foundation.
Oh, wow.
And that means Jimmy Hart would be inducted. He's a part of that. And then Taz.
Well, Jimmy Hart's already in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, so he'll be a two-timer.
Yeah, he'd be a two-timer.
Oh, my God. And then Taz is the other name that's going around as the WWE Hall of Fame. Possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's one name that I want to see, and I say this every year, King. I need to see. Do you know who it is?
Yeah, well, I know who I need to see in there.
Who? Oh, I know.
Andy Kaufman.
Well, Andy Kaufman and Lance Russell recognized, definitely.
Yeah.
But the one wrestler that it is I want to see Vader in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. That's a shame that now he's passed away. I mean, there's certain people, and I think Vader would be one of them that it would just mean it'd be one of the greatest things in their life, to get inducted in there. Yeah. And I wish that could have happened for him, while he was still alive too.
Yeah. Vader is one of my favorites, that, and him being recognized in the WWE Hall of Fame would be great.
Yep. What about Bruce Prichard is back at the WWE?
Oh, well, the hot sheets the dirt sheets saying that Bruce Prichard is back as in creative with WWE, and I think he started, but they said Raw was great because of Bruce Prichard. Well, I think the Flair segment was planned for weeks, so I don't think Bruce.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think Bruce had any involvement with that. But I mean, I didn't really see a difference in Raw. I mean. Yeah.
Well, no, that's not something that and that
people are stupid.
You can't say people are stupid.
Well, they are.
You're talking about the internet people that said
the marks. The marks that said, "Oh,
Bruce
Raw
Prichard
was great this week because of Bruce Prichard." Well, I mean, are you kidding me?
I don't think that. I mean, it might have been a great show and everything, but I don't think it was. I don't think Bruce Prichard just came in and in 1 week took over everything and everything about that show. Like you said, I mean, to have Batista there, to have all of those different people there, that had to be planned way in advance. But I think adding Bruce Prichard is really cool, and plus it'll keep him away from that AEW, won't it?
Oh, you saying that was off the street money?
Keep you off the street money.
Keep you off the street.
Keep here with us.
Don't go with the AEW.
Stay with us.
There has been a lot of releases in WWE. Probably nobody no like main eventers or there's a lot of NXT guys asking for their releases. So since they're not being utilized in WWE, they think that they can go and survive on the indie scene.
What was the funny thing was that used to happen after WrestleMania. They used to call it Black Monday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. I mean, that was a yearly thing. It was just everybody knew it. That was when they would, they wouldn't release anybody till like after WrestleMania, and then there would be a list of people that they'd bring in new talent, and then when you bring in new people, you usually have to let some go, and that was usually when it happened. But this was like a month before WrestleMania.
Yeah, spring cleaning.
Oh, is that what they called it?
Well, I mean, that's basically what it is. You spring clean the roster. I mean, I guess you get rid of the people that you're not using, and you try to bring some new talent in that you are gonna use. So I would say that's wishing people well in their future endeavors.
Yeah. And I'm doing so good on the segues here, or the whatever.
Oh my God, you are
transitions, because I said it usually happened after WrestleMania. What else was announced about WrestleMania?
Oh, next year it's going to be in
Tampa, Florida.
Oh my God! So I told Chris Perez, good a buddy for the podcast, our good friend, former Indians pitcher, closer, 2-time All-Star, fourth in Indians history and saves. I can go on. But he lives in Tampa, and I texted. I'm like, oh, Chris, WrestleMania, Tampa Bay next year. He goes, oh my God. He goes, I've never been to WrestleMania. I've never seen it live before. He goes, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go and go see WrestleMania for his first one live.
Oh, that'll be great.
It's gonna be.
I love Chris. We don't get to see him much anymore.
No, he's still in Tampa. Still, I think he does more real estate and investment stuff now. He was trying to make a comeback for MLB. He was trying to make a comeback.
Has he stopped? Does he give it up on that?
He stopped just nagging injuries.
Oh man!
So I was looking forward to seeing Pure Rage back, maybe back in Major League Baseball. But I guess he's coaching his kids now.
Well, that's good. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward. I'll see him down there next year for sure at WrestleMania.
Oh, that'd be a heck of a week.
Yeah.
Tampa. So I guess WB has not confirmed it. It says all the dirt sheets are reporting it. I guess a Tampa reporter confirmed it with his sources. So WrestleMania in Tampa.
Well, wait a minute. You mean you told me this, and this is going to be one of the topics we're talking about, and it's not even been confirmed?
Well, WWE wants to announce it on their terms.
Well, then we shouldn't have announced it here. I'll probably get in trouble for this. What's wrong with you?
It's in the papers. It's all over in Tampa Bay papers. It's in newspapers.
Well, then look. Let's just say that it's been reported. We don't know. We're not reporting it. We're just saying
the Tampa Bay Times reported. Tampa Bay Business Journal.
Well, okay,
reported it.
I mean, until it's official, we're just saying that. Hey, that's what we heard, folks. We're not on here saying we're out here to make the official announcement.
No, we're just talking about the news. That's all we're doing.
That's all we're doing.
That's all we're doing. Jerry Lawler, I can see the red lines now. Jerry Lawler announces.
Let's change where we're going to have WrestleMania because Lawler went to jump the gun.
We're going to go to Jacksonville.
You're fired, Lawler.
Vince calling you. King, what were you doing on your podcast?
Yeah, move your crown on the other side of the show.
Oh my God! Speaking of, when you mentioned marking out for like Kiss,
yeah.
I mean, you said I marked out for Rosie. I mean, I met her before, so it's not like big marking out. Yeah. But the one person I did mark out for,
who?
Vince.
Oh my gosh, you sure did.
Oh my God! I mean, I'm just like a little kid. I'm standing here next to Jerry Lawler, which already is like a, big thing for me, even though I've hung out with you a lot. But then there's Vince McMahon. You guys are chatting it up, laughing, having a good old time. You got Triple H on the other side. I mean, it was just like, where am I? Ooh, hey.
That probably my closest moment to that would have been because I could look at you and tell. I mean, that was cool. I mean, my gosh, you didn't. It's something that just happened all of a sudden. You didn't expect it to happen. And then like you said, you're just suddenly standing next to Vince McMahon and Triple H and all of these people there. The time that sort of happened to me was when I was doing the movie Man on the Moon, and they called me out to, California. And the very first day of shooting, the first scene, they shot stuff out of order. The first scene was supposedly in Andy's manager's office, and of course Andy's manager was played by Danny DeVito. And then, of course, Andy was played by Jim Carrey. And it was a meeting between Andy's manager, Jim Carrey, and me. And so they said, okay, go in right there and sit down at this little desk. And it was a little small desk. And there were two chairs right there. And then I walk in. I sit down, and of course, there's cameras all around and all the production crew and everything. And then all of a sudden, in comes walking Danny DeVito. And he leans over the desk, shakes hands with me. Hey, Jerry, I'm Danny DeVito. I said, hi, Mr. DeVito, how are you? And he just sits down on the other side of the chair, like 2 feet away from me, right on the other side of the desk. And then all of a sudden, in comes Jim Carrey, and he sits down in the chair beside me, and like his leg is touching my leg, and they're getting when he says he's talking to Danny for a second, and like you said, that was my big mark out moment. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm sitting here across the desk from Danny DeVito, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and my leg is touching. I'm about to do a scene with Jim Carrey, who is the biggest star in Hollywood right now, and I'm sitting here next to these two guys. So that was my big mark out moment so I know how you feel when something like that happens to you.
There's a funny story I forgot to tell you about when you and I were backstage at Memphis. I didn't tell you.
What happened? Oh, Lord.
I didn't tell you this right away. So.
Oh, no. I told you not to do that stuff.
Okay, so we get there. You're standing next to Vince. All right, you and Vince are standing there. You guys are talking, chatting. It was like for 5 minutes, and I'm standing next to you. So there's me, you in the middle, and Vince. You introduced me to Vince. I shake his hand. I'm on cloud nine. So
now we're still out in the parking garage by the limousine, right?
Right. Yeah. Triple H comes up to us. You introduced me to Triple H. Shake his hand. So he goes off, and they were doing something. So he was paying attention to that. Vince was talking to you, and there was a candid camera guy taking photos.
Yeah.
That's taking regular photos backstage.
Yeah. There's always a guy. Yeah. There's a guy that follows everybody around taking backstage pictures.
Right. It's candid photos, just whatever's happening backstage. So there was a guy, and immediately when you and him started talking, he got in position to take a photo of you and him, talking. So
no. And you, I'm sure, got in position to photobomb it, right?
So he's on my side. He's on my side, kind of, angling towards you and him. And he kept kind of stepping, obviously I was not going to be in the photo. So he's trying to angle to get you guys cropped in because you're facing him. And he didn't want to get the side of your face. He wants to get your front. So every time he tried to angle, I moved a little bit towards you. Angling myself
to try to get in the picture. Did you get in the picture, do you think?
No, because I think he realized what I was trying to do, and then he went to the other side.
How embarrassing. I'm glad you didn't tell me that till now. I'd have been mad that night.
No, you wouldn't have got it. He got his photo. I mean, I was standing right next to you. I mean, how could he miss me? Right?
Well, anyway. How long have we been doing this today?
Jeez. Jerry. Look, oh, no, Jerry's
people are pulling over on the side of the road. They're driving, taking a nap.
Oh, come on.
Well, it seems like we've been here for days.
No, it's been 30 minutes, and we had Gilbert on for 30 minutes. Well, not even 30 minutes. So it's all right. Last topic really quick. Hulk Hogan.
I think what a lot of people don't realize is you and I talk on the phone for about 30 minutes before we start doing the podcast.
You have interruptions. Before we start.
I do have some interruptions. You're right.
So we have people calling you. We have people asking for things. So I mean, that's not me. It's
all me. I know.
No, it's okay.
All right. What was our final topic?
Hulk Hogan's doing a biopic, and I'm wondering, will they have a scene of you buying his first car?
Oh, who told me something about that? Somebody just told me something about. And then that reminds me of another segue into what I want to talk about next. But I know who told me. I think it was you.
Yeah.
You told me that the biopic is supposed to start once he got into WWE.
Yeah, a little bit before that.
No, I'm sure they will not have the fact that I co-signed for Hulk Hogan's first car.
Well, I hope so. That means you get nice little. You get to be in the photo. You get to be in the movie, right?
Hey, well, that's what I was going to talk about. What about being in Fighting with the Family? Why Fighting with My Family?
You were?
Oh, wait a minute. Have you not seen the movie?
I have not seen the movie yet.
How terrible of you, man!
Don't tell Paige. Don't tell Paige. Don't tell her, please.
Yeah. Well, you better go tonight.
Okay, so you were in it?
Yeah.
Oh, you call the match for Paige?
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have any FaceTime, you just have her voice.
No, you actually see me.
Oh my God. So are you credited? Are you in the movie? Credit?
I don't think so.
Oh. Jerry Lawler as himself.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you're in the movie. You're a box office hit.
Yeah, man. And the movie is doing well, isn't it?
I heard it's doing very well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
But this Hulk Hogan
You know
biopic.
why it's doing so well? Because they advertised on our podcast.
Oh, yeah, they did actually for 2 weeks. Yeah, you're right. That's why all those people listen to the podcast. If you did watch the Page movie, let us know. Did you like it or not? Did you like it?
Yeah, and if you hadn't seen it, go see it.
We got to talk. Not that Page movie. The Fighting with My Family movie.
That's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about?
Nothing.
You're so terrible.
Cut out. Cut that part out. Cut it. The Hulk Hogan biopic, Thor. You know Thor from.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's going to play Hulk Hogan. Oh my God! You know who would play the Iron Sheik?
He's to really work out or something.
Oh, I know. You know, well, I'm sure Hogan can give him some tips. You know who would play the Sheik?
Who?
Perfectly?
Who?
If he was a little bit taller.
Who?
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
I mean, if he was a little bit taller, you know, I know the Sheik is like almost 6 foot.
Do you know how short Danny DeVito
But he
is?
looks,
you can see Danny's feet on his driver's license photo.
You could, you know, do the camera, give him some, you know,
no, impossible. He couldn't.
Get him like 6 foot, you know, 6-inch riser boots.
You couldn't. You could give him 6-inch riser boots. He'd be 4'9".
And then you can like just have it.
I'm
like,
serious. If you ever were around Danny DeVito, it's almost laughable how short
I've been
he
to
is.
his house.
I don't know how they ever. When they first saw him, they say, "How could we cast him as anybody?" I don't know. That was the whole thing with when he was in Taxi. They had to put him up in that booth where he was up higher than everybody else.
Yeah, you could.
The boss, you know.
You can like get around that with camera Hollywood magic, right?
No, he could never play Hulk Hogan. Trust me.
No, not Hulk Hogan. The Sheik, Iron Sheik.
Oh, the Iron Sheik.
Yeah,
he couldn't even play the Iron Sheik. Are you kidding?
He looks
you know
just
how
like
big
him.
the Iron Sheik was?
Come on.
It was big, man.
I've been to Danny DeVito's house.
I love what the Iron Sheik tweeted the other night during the Oscars.
What?
When Lady Gaga and the guy were singing together. What's the guy's name?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
When they're singing together, all those Iron tweets out, "Get a room, Bubba."
I didn't watch that. I don't watch those award shows.
It was horrible.
It's all liberal propaganda.
It was dreadfully horrible. Yeah, it was just awful.
Yeah, I don't like it. All right, King. Well, you're busy this weekend. Anything else you want to promote or say before we wrap this up?
No, I think we covered all the bases.
We did. We covered a lot, from Flair to Hall of Fame to Roman Reigns to Charles Barkley paying for your wedding to
me wrestling too much.
Yeah, wrestling too much. When are you going to retire? Anytime soon? No?
Oh my gosh. I saw somebody put up this thing to where I forget what year it was, but I was saying that people ask me about retiring. And I would just say this: I'll never retire until I put that World Heavyweight Championship belt around my waist.
Oh.
Right. So that was in '88. So then still going now.
31 years later.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can go for the NWA world title, or you can go for that, I guess. WWE Championship, maybe?
I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, they seem to be handing out championships left and right. You know, there's all these new championship belts coming up for WWE. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say belts. Titles.
Yeah.
Don't call it a belt. No.
And speaking of belts, and another segue, and speaking of Kiss, I saw where my good friend Dave Milligan had made a wrestling championship belt for Kiss at one time.
Oh my God.
He tweeted it out and put a picture of it, or added on to Facebook, a picture of himself with Kiss and this Kiss championship belt. It was really cool looking.
Did he do a belt for Jason Aldean too?
He sure did.
Wow.
Yeah. Now he got to meet Kiss, but he said he didn't get to meet Jason Aldean when he gave it, he just had to send the belt to him.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
All right, King. Final word, buddy.
Final word, Kiss.
Oh, hold on. Did I ever tell you that
happened?
Dangerous Doug Gilbert wore my jeans before? Did I tell you that story? He wore my jeans.
When was this? And how could this be?
This was like 2015. Dangerous Doug Gilbert was up in Cleveland, up here for AIW, and they have a 2-day. Once a year, they have like a tournament.
Why didn't you say this when he was on here?
You guys were coasting. You guys were cruising for your little conversation.
Cruising.
I think I've told you this before, but you don't remember what I tell you. So, So he came up for this tournament, a 2-day tournament, Friday night, like the first and second round, and then Saturday night is like the championship round. So he was in this tournament for AIW. So the first night, I think he lost, so he was out of the tournament, but he was going to be there for the second night. So they wanted him to be Freddy Cougar. So he didn't have any, like, really, he didn't have the mask or, the glove. So they had a guy that had the mask, and they had a guy that had the glove and the sweatshirt and everything, but he needed a pair of jeans. He didn't have any pairs of jeans. So luckily for me, I had in my car, I have another outfit. So I grabbed the pair of jeans. He took it, and he wore my jeans to the ring. He wrestled in my jeans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Next time you tell the story, try to have a point. But anyway, no, that's a good.
What's the point? All I said was he wore my jeans. That's how we always say.
I like that.
I mean, they were a little big on him, but I mean,
I would imagine just a little bit.
He had to tape the legs.
Well, all right. What's the final word?
You tell me.
I don't know. I hate it when you tell me the final word. I can never. That's like those people saying, I'll say a name, you say one word, describe them.
Well, you're the host, so I mean,
I don't have a final word. Never have a final word.
All you got to do is say bye.
Oh, say bye.
The preceding show is a Pod Avenue production.
Greetings, wrestling fans. This is Dave Dynasty, host of the Dave Dynasty Show, the podcast that every week brings you nearly 2 hours of pro wrestling goodness from the Midwest. We feature interviews with the legends of the past, stars of today, and the prospects of tomorrow. We have segments that feature classic wrestling audio, whole episodes devoted to the history of Midwest pro wrestling, and much, much more. Do not miss an episode of the Dave Dynasty Show. We are available on all podcast platforms, or you can access past episodes and all of our social media links by visiting davedynasty.com. Be good, be safe, and keep on growing.